Hey everybody, this is Shane. Welcome to 20 Minutes Underground.
Oh! You got him good? You got him good?
This will be good.
Yo! Welcome to 20 Minutes Underground, your weekly online reptile YouTube show for reptile enthusiasts like Austin. That's why he's here.
That's why you're here.
This week we're going to do an update on the purple tiger, the albinos, and the spring happenings at Underground Reptiles. Enjoy the show. This is Taza. This is my wife's new dog. You guys have seen my nice big dogs. Doesn't she look embarrassed? Look how my wife dresses her. My wife is out of her mind. Look at this. Do you know I paid money for this dog? Isn't that insane? And you know what's good? I'll tell you the best thing about Taza. Taza. She cleans the snot out of my nose. Enjoy the show. Whoops. Hey, we want to update you guys on all the stuff going on with spring rolling around, and weird thing, it was a very weird mild winter. It got cold at the beginning of the winter, and then it was warm most of the winter. Then all of a sudden the last couple weeks it got cold again. I've never had animals out and breeding so early, but I don't know how this sudden cold wave, or cold for us is, you know, 50 degrees. So in case you're seeing from another state, when I say cold, that's what I mean. However, all of a sudden it got cold. I wanted to go through some of the stuff, some of the projects we're working on. We've paired up most of the animals now. Not all of them are up, but I'll walk through them with you if you guys would join me. Give me a kiss. Okay, the first couple I want to show you guys are the Chacoan whiteheads, of which we have about 10 pairs of them. See, they've already started to make their nest. You see how they construct? Now, the outsides are a little bit bare, and then they bury themselves in the middle. Now, if you look, we mix a mixture of mulch and potting soil, and that helps the females to be able to actually construct a nice nest. See how black the dirt is under here? Now again, it is breeding time of the year, and they're going to be protective as well as nervous. Now look at the big fat belly on that female already. Whoa! Stop that. All right. Now these are some of the samples of some of the babies we're gonna have. It's kind of a cool thing. Again, if you guys remember, we put together about 10 extra groups last year, so we pretty much tripled our stock, and that's some of the animals. Now that's a normal phase, or what we call it, the black and white phase, but it's still a Paraguayan whitehead, a Chacoan whitehead. Continuing on down the line, we've got more pairs, Chacoan whitehead pairs, Chacoan whitehead pairs. Now this is interesting. This is what we call the beige pair. It's really cool to see them start to nest this early. It's obviously it's just March for you guys that haven't looked at the date on the video, and they've already constructed this big beautiful nest. Now look, see how much white and beige is in that one, as opposed to the other one, which was much darker. Look at the notice the more white on the head, almost like a beige on the head. This is the boy. I could feel, because you could sex a male Tegu. Male Tegus have this little nodule right at the base of the tail. I'm actually rubbing on it right now, and he likes it. Don't you dare bite me. Make me a soprano. Now, how do you know it's spring as opposed to just warm? Because Florida, they say, has no seasons. Well, You know it's spring with the Tegus when they start eating. It's nothing to have them up because all winter long they'll be up, but funny thing is we haven't fed our animals through the winter. That's almost 4 months. These animals don't eat, yet when they come out of hibernation, they're fatter and chunkier than before they go in. It's a strange thing, I don't even know how they do it. So what we did is started feeding about a month ago already. It's one of the rats that didn't get eaten. And that's how we know it's spring and they're gonna start to mate. We have a very exciting project that we've been working on here. You guys saw her last year. This is the pinstripe. Man, are we excited about this, because she was one of the first ones to get up. Nesting already. Great thing. Now I've got her male in with her, so I don't want to mess with her, but what's really cool about her is she's already gravid. You could tell by how low and fat she is. I'm going to show you guys. That's the male that we put with her. Don't you dare bite me. Now that is a Argentine black and white. Unlike the Paraguayans, you notice they don't have a white nose like the other ones. There's some flecks of white on there, but he is most definitely not a Chacoan whitehead, what some people call the giants. Here she is. Guys, look at this animal. Look at that beast. Look how fat she is. Low. She's already got the follicle, the eggs in there. And look at the pinstripe. Look how she turned out. From the last year when we first did the video on her, you guys can look up that video. She's probably doubled in weight and grown another third in size. So we're gonna have eggs from that. Now I don't know if we're gonna get any visible babies, you know, that are gonna show that trait this year, because usually that takes breeding back. So I don't know if we're gonna get like pinstripes this year. We'll probably get the hets this year, have to breed them back. Sorry to wake you guys. Now the new project that we're pretty excited about is right here. I want to show you guys this. This is very, very interesting for us. We started a new project which we called blonde phase. Now this is the first year of the blonde phase. Now the blonde phase is a Chacoan whitehead, but it is really light and white colored. She's also, again, already nesting. Here she comes. Look at how white she is. Look at her. Notice how white she is. Now she's dirty because she's nesting. Looks like she's already ovulating. The bulge, the fat on her is already a little bit higher. But look how white she is. Really all white. There's no black mark on except the stripe down from the eye. And when she's clean after a good shed or a nice rain, she's going to be really white. Now what we're doing with her is we have a male that looks the same way. We've isolated her. We don't have her in with a male right now because we're putting in and out of her cage another male who's also a blonde phase, but we're using him to breed with some other ones as well. Look at that fat cow. Let me get in there. Now you guys can see they ate chicken hearts for lunch today. Now look at him. Whoa. See how white he is also? Much more blonde than the other Chacoan whiteheads. Now we're going to cross those with that and hopefully get a blonder and blonder animal. And as the next few seasons go, we're going to have increasingly lighter animals, selective breeding, survival of the fittest. Also more Chacoan whiteheads. All this line is all pairs and pairs of Chacoan whiteheads. Come to the other side. Okay, now it is spring, but it's still early spring. It's still mid-March. Now what we have down this line here is red Tegu, Chacoan, Paraguayan reds, Argentine reds, Argentine red, These are new Tegu cages. Now, the reason we have staggered in between our full cages as empty cages is because once you notice the female's gravid and you can actually see the eggs in her, you move the female over, you let her make her nest without the hindrance of the male, because what happens is when she lays her eggs, if you don't get them out quick enough, the male will gobble them up and eat them. Kind of a weird thing. That's one of the problems with having animals in a confined area. That's one of the downsides. In the wild, they'd mate, they'd go, the male would never be around the female. But we're limited in space unless we throw out my daughters, and that's probably not going to happen. Be a good idea. Now we start the blue Tegus. We got blue Tegus, blue Tegus, blue Tegus. I want to show you a new male that we started working with this year. Now the problem with him is I don't know whether he's a het or not, and we're trying to produce mostly hets. I mean, and albinos. But somebody brought this thing in, and he's just sensational. Hey, wow. That's a big male blue Tegu. Look at him. You kiss the camera. So we're hoping to get him. Actually, we're gonna do something different this year. I have this female that hasn't produced anything in like 4 years. Once I see her start to ovulate, I'm gonna put him in with her. It'd be kind of cool to just get some of them crosses. Some people seem to like those red-blue crosses. They're a nice looking animal. And you guys know we got the albino project that we're gonna show you. And now the rest of these here are blue Tegus, blue Tegus. Now this whole corner is just hets. So the pairs we have here are the albino hets. She's sleeping. Let me see if I can wake her up, because she's what they call the platinum. So we have the platinum albino, which we thought we were going to produce some platinum albinos last year. But if you guys remember opening the eggs, it was a no-go. Here she is. Oh. Yeah, see her? And here's the male over there. Look how much. Now when she sheds out and the water washes and cleans her up, all that is going to be white. Let's get out of there before he wakes up. And uh-oh, there he is. Look at him. He's like, you touching my girl? Hey boy, stay away from my girl. Don't make me come out there. Get out my cage. Yes, sir. You guys didn't know I speak Tegu, did you? So at Underground Reptiles, this year we should have a plethora of baby Tegus. Again, let's review. Platinum blues, regular blues, albino blues, blue-red crosses, Paraguayan red, Argentine red, Chacoan whitehead, 3/4 blue, 1/4 red albinos, blonde Chacoan whiteheads, black Chacoan whiteheads, and the normal phase, which is just the gray like we showed you. So with any blessing, we should have plenty of Tegus to supply everybody. And since everybody keeps emailing and calling, we should have baby Tegus. We should have eggs starting in April. Babies start coming out in late June, early July. People always ask us why we don't take deposits, because that's called counting your chickens before they hatch, and we don't count Tegu eggs before they hatch. We don't count Tegus before they even lay eggs. It could be we don't wind up with any Tegu. We could get a cold snap, a heat step, where my dog could bust in and eat all the animals. We don't do that. Thank you so much that you trust us enough to send us your money, but we will not take any money until we have babies. At very least, we know there's babies in the eggs. Once we could see the eggs forming and growing and developing, we could actually scan the eggs to make sure they're growing in there. Then if you have to give us money, then otherwise, wait for them to come out. Anybody whose name we take down, we promise we'll call you first. Oops. Because you've asked for updates on the purple tiger, we wanted to give you one. Here is the purple tiger Tegu, the Paradox albino. We think it's a Paradox albino. It's certainly an albino, and it's certainly got purple skin. the purple tiger Tegu. Notice where they usually have a black nose, his is pink. Now it's in shed, unfortunately, so it's really not as beautiful as you see it when it's not in shed. He's growing at a good pace. I'm gonna guess about 2 foot, a little less than 2 foot 18 inches. Now at first we thought he was gonna be one of those alpha males that just grows so quick, eats everything in sight, but for some reason in the middle of the winter he just slowed down, decided he wanted to, or she wanted to. Have not sexed it officially yet. I mean, I don't want to put a probe in it just in case anything happens, but feels like it might be a female, which wouldn't really matter to me, male or female. Purple tiger Tegu. Big and beautiful. I want to introduce you guys to Goliath. This animal is about 6 months old, and from a Tegu perspective, this is a 3/4 blue, 1/4 red het for albino. Now you guys just saw the size of the purple tiger. I want you to take a look and see how big this thing is. This thing is one of the fastest growing Tegus I've ever had. He eats everything and anything in sight, and he is such a gentle little giant. Look at the incredible color on him. Look at his chin. Once you bring them outside and that natural UV light hits them, they get a little uppity. Incredible animal. I expect really, really good things from this animal. Maybe a giant line of albino blues or something like that. Look at the size of this animal. And look how tame he is. This is an update on the albinos. We showed you the purple tigers and we showed you Goliath. This isn't a pure albino Tegu. Look at the tail coloring. When this thing is clean and just shedding, absolutely amazing how the red Tegu of the albino, because this is a 3/4 red, I'm sorry, 3/4 blue, 1/4 red. Look at the red flecking on its back. Look at the bone white head and the way it's come out. Show them the thigh. Look at the back leg thighs with the red coloring in them. Just amazing. And we have a bunch of these hets and as well as a bunch of these albinos. Now probably not going to get too many more of these this coming year, because we're raising these up, and I mean, you see this thing's already putting on some pretty good size for a 6-7 month old animal. But next year, next season, easy. Sometimes you gotta make your Tegu submit. You wind up with that 2 foot range Tegu who's a lunatic. This is how you calm them down. Don't spoil them rotten, man. Control them. That's how they settle down. Gorgeous animals, and we're going to have them only at Underground Reptiles. Last on the list of stuff we're going to show you, but first on the list of amazing is the albino, snow albino. Now you can notice that it has a lot more white, less banding, more flecking, all the way down it. Not as colorful, more white though. And look at the pupil. Look how red on the snow. It's got much more redding in the pupil itself. Snow albino, 3/4 blue, 1/4 red Tegus. Only where in the world you could find them is at Underground Reptiles. Growing at a great pace. We should be able to produce some animals just like this next season, about a year away. Super tame, super gorgeous, and gonna be affordable because we're gonna produce, Lord willing, we're gonna produce a buttload of them. Never count our chickens before they hatch though. Hey, Os! Watch this, watch this. Os, sit! Sit! Good boy! Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? That was uncalled for. Tegu setups and how to set up Tegus. Now, interestingly enough, as we talked about, one of the things we prefaced in last week's show was that when you're setting an animal up, it depends on location, where you're located at. But not only does it depend where you're located at geographically, but also physically, if you're keeping your animal inside or outside. Now, in Florida, in the spring and summer and the fall even, not so much in the winter depending on your animal, we can house certain animals outside, and that's the blessing of living in Florida. One of the reasons I moved from New York to Florida. Originally, I'm from Queens, New York, grew up on the streets of Queens, Howard Beach to be specific. One of the reasons I moved to Florida was so I can breed my animals outside. I love this place. Never regretted a day moving here. So if you've seen us doing the cage building, look over here. Again, we build our cages for the Tegu. Now Austin here is putting together the base. 6 foot by 6 foot, 3 foot tall. We put a 4 foot box, hide box in the cage. Here we are. We make these things in groups as well. Very, very simple. We get old wood from Home Depot. That way they charge us a lot less. In the bottom of the cage, we use cypress mulch from Home Depot. You cannot use cypress mulch. I'm gonna ask Andrew to put it right on the screen. Do not use cypress mulch from Home Depot inside. It's only good outside, because the cypress mulch you get from Home Depot is just mulched wood. Now, why is that not good? Because every bug that's on the trees outside will now be in your house. Outside, the weather, the rain, the sun, the outside wild bugs will keep those bugs to a minimal. Inside, where it's nice and friendly and nice and temperature controlled and no natural bugs to eat them, you will only be doing inside is breeding wild bugs, which you don't want to do. So again, do not use play sand from Home Depot on any of your desert lizards under any circumstance. Do not use cypress mulch from Home Depot on your inside cages, but outside, that's what we use. We use a nice thick layer, 2 to 3 inches. If we're nesting, we'll also put some potting soil in there. It's really cheap, $2 or $3 a bag for a cage like this. It takes about 4 or 5 bags of mulch, about 2 or 3 bags of about 1 or 2 bags of the potting soil. If you're nesting, we use screen. You see the screen we use? It's a stainless steel wire mesh that we use so that the animal cannot escape. You see, guys, watch the video on how we do it. Nice. And what we do is to save money, because they don't make a big enough water bowl specifically, we just order cat litter boxes. We order 20, 30 at a time. We keep them in the shed, and as we need them, as the weather eats them up, we use that, fill it up with water. The animal gets in there. They love to bathe in the nice hot days. Tegu Care 101. We'll show you also how to take care of them inside. Housing Tegus inside is another completely separate issue. Now, if you look here at our cages, now we probably should have cleaned them for you, but we intentionally left them dirty for this reason. Because we have so many animals in our cages, we like to use newspaper at the bottom. Well, the upside to newspaper, it's easy to clean, it's quick, it is absorbent, but the downside is one day and the animals destroy it and it looks terrible. However, in setting up, you can use forest bark. We like this stuff because it breathes, it absorbs moisture and releases moisture. You could soak it down really good and the cage won't get all wet. You see up here my son's my son's Woma python cage. We use that in there. This here is one of those it's one of those dual-purpose lights. It has ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B, so it gives off UVB, which is the vitamin, basically the vitamin light, plus it gives off A, which is the heat. Now for these, because this is where we house the albinos and the purple tiger, I use both that dual light as well as a UV. I use the Exoterra 10.0. Probably can only have to use the 5.0 on a Tegu, but I like to use the 10.0 just to give them as much UV as they possibly can intake. We use a calcium powder. We'll use any kind of calcium powder I have laying around or somebody left at the store. And now we use, you notice we use hide boxes. Very important for them to have a hide box in the cage, because they are very secretive animals when they want to be. As a matter of fact, in the wild, they live mostly underground. If you guys see when we have the videos outside, how they make the nest and they live under it. Now it's interesting what I did, because they got too big for any hide box that they sell commercially. I just made a miniature version of the big hide boxes that I use outside. So that's fun. Again, when housing your Tegus and you live in New York and it's the winter. Now when I lived in New York in the winters in my house, sometimes it got down into the 50s. That's just the reality of living in a cold climate. you'd have to do the same thing. You'd have to use a heat pad. Now in Florida, you never need a heat pad because it never gets colder than the 60s and 50s, and it's hardly ever colder than the 70s in most people's houses in Florida. In Southern California, all the southern states, you don't need a heat pad. Matter of fact, heat pad is bad. Heat rocks and heat pads are bad in areas where it stays warm. Reason being, now listen, very important to understand this. A heating rock or a heating pad gives a constant, steady supply of heat. When you have an animal whose body temperature controls its metabolism, what you're doing is, it's like a motorcycle that you're gunning all the time. Now everybody says, oh, but he's not on there. But there's a heat source in there. A heat source the animal will always go to raise his body temperature. That's instinctual. God implanted it in their brain. None of that ridiculous evolutionary crap, which is make-believe nonsense. This is true and real. God made these things and imprinted in their brain certain unneed-to-learnable instincts. They don't learn this stuff. It's imprinted on their brain. So in Florida, you don't use a heat pad. It's mostly bad to use anything that's going to supply constant heat. The animal will have to eat twice as much, will have to drink twice as much, and will only be able to utilize 1/4 of it because this animal will constantly, will never be able to convert it to energy because it's always eating. I hope you understand that. So make sure you mist your cage daily. It's very important to keep a nice humidity base in the cage. Now, a good indicator that you don't have a good humidity base in your Tegu cage is when your animal sheds, the shed keeps getting stuck and suffocating the fingers. It'll constrict the fingers and you'll see the fingers will start to crack and break sometimes. That's letting you know you don't have enough humidity in the cage. A nice big bowl for water. I really like a nice bowl. We use the big ceramic. Sometimes I'll even just use a shoebox in there and fill it up with water. Give them as much water as they want. A little harder to maintain because it's a bigger bowl, but it's really good for them. Food for a Tegu, you could start them on crickets. It's real important because crickets have good high phosphorus. I mean, you guys have seen our videos. Once they get a little older, we start them on the calcium-enriched chicken hearts. We have mice pinks, rat pinks, pups, full-grown rats as they get older. Any variety. You guys have seen the videos. Our Tegu, our baby Tegus love those silken hornworms, man. They go crazy. I don't know what that must be, like Tegu crack or something like that. But they love that stuff. Enjoy. Have a good time. Decorate your cage, man. People always say, well, what do you think the animal will like this, the animal will like this? It's not whether the animal likes it, it's whether you like it. The necessities, once they're met, is what's most important. Nice humid environment, a hide box, a good thick layer of substrate, constant water supply, good source. Hey, you kids, if your mom and dad are constantly yelling at you to give your animal water, that's not a good thing. At very least, you got to make sure you change your animal's water. Cleaning your cage is also very important. It's a good idea to use either chlorhexidine. We mix our own chlorhexidine solution up, but they have some good commercial cleaners also. Wipe Out by Zoomed is good. It comes in a big size. It'll clean the cage. It'll kill any bacteria or infection. Plus, it'll wipe clean. We use paper towel. Again, we use newspaper in the bottom. The only downside to newspaper in the bottom is when you use your newspaper in the bottom, you find the article and you're like, hey, then you get stuck in it. It takes you 2 hours to finish your cages because you wind up reading the paper instead of cleaning your animal's cages. Have a good time. Decorate the cage. Put all kinds of different shelves in there and plants. Don't use live plants. I don't like live plants. I'm pretty botany stupid. And plants could always have a fertilizer and could always have pesticides on them. So I don't like live eco environments. I'm really bad with it. I love when somebody does a really nice frog setup, a dart frog, and they have the live plant. It looks beautiful. I just don't know how to do that stuff. I try to stick to my expertise. But have a good time with it. Hey, thanks for watching.
Feeling warm and right, dancing in the moonlight. Oh, hey, what are you guys doing here? It's that time already, I guess. Excuse me, me and Benjamin were having a moment. You guys want free crap? That is what you're here for, not my singing, although it is very good, I know. You guys want to see who won this past week's YouTube comment mumbo jumbo stuff? I got 3 winners this week. You will be winning the mini mister. As you can see here, we leave it in its wrapping so that you can give it away for somebody's birthday or somebody that you don't like very much would love this clear plastic wrap. It's very stylish. Nobody wants that colorful wrapping paper anymore, gift bags. That's old news. The new stuff, clear plastic bags with the writing still on it. That's what you'll win for your comments, and our 3 comment winners are as follows on the YouTube. Trich, I think that's how you say it, 5566. He says that it is acceptable to do hybrids. Well, Trich, I'm glad we have your permission, Almighty Snake King. He likes the hybrids because he says that they are jaw-dropping and they're really cool. And his favorite hybrid, if you will, is the Carpondro. I think that's a cross between a piece of carpet and a hydrobed massager. I like the hydrobed massages. Maybe the carpet makes it nice and comfortable while you're laying on it, I guess. Anyways, our next one is Jeremy09JM. I guess he's not a big fan of the hybrid thing because he says that it is watering down the gene pool. I guess that's better than concentrating it, like in the case of Inbred Ned. I think his family could use some watering down, guys. Have you seen him lately? Seriously. Anyways, he also says that that's probably the reason why hybrids are so hard to produce, that they're generally infertile, and he leaves us with a final warning, very sternly saying, so stop it. Well, you heard the keyboard commander. You better stop it, otherwise Jeremy09JM will come and find you, I guess. I guess we're in trouble too, Jeremy. Please have mercy on us, Almighty Snake King, who doesn't like the hybrids. Whatever. And then finally, our friend Joey Vega. He asks us, are we going to Tampa Repticon? That was like 2 episodes ago, bro. Seriously, you gotta catch up here. The answer is no, we are not going to be at the Tampa Repticon because you will most likely be there. And I'm in no mood for your nonsense. But then he finally gets to the point of last week's question, which is about the hybrids. Thank you very much. And he says that he loves hybrids because they are of great quality. His favorite cross, if you will, or hybrid, is the corn rat snake. I thought corns were red rat snakes. I assume that you're more intelligent than that, and you probably mean like some other type of rat snake, like a yellow rat or an Everglades rat, something of that nature. Maybe a black rat, I don't know. Anyways, he finally concludes his comment with an insult to yours truly, Moody Booty. He says, I'm a poopy face. Well, thank you, Einstein. You figured out why they don't show my face. Because I have feces all over it. And that would be too disturbing to see. Again, thank you, Einstein, and the rest of you Einsteins on there for all of your comments, for some of your questions, for most of your loves towards yours truly, Moody Booty. And now, if I can, let me get back to my serenading of Mr. Benjamin here. Oh, baby, you got what I need. But you say he's just a friend. But you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you got what I need.
That was 20 Minutes Underground for this week. Please join us next week again for another episode. This week's question of the week is a little bit on the personal side. Tell us what kind of animal you best would like to see us produce for you this year. What kind of tegu would you like? What kind of animal would you like? What is your favorite Underground Reptiles animal that you're looking for? The best request might just get something free that they might really like. Thanks for watching. God bless you guys, and whoosh.